Welcome to this audiobook summary of Focus on You. Until the Focus is on You. A manual on how to focus and be your best version by R. Harold and Shirley. Before we begin, thank you for giving this time to yourself. This is your moment of transformation. In the coming minutes, you will step into a new mindset where your focus becomes your greatest ally and you, your greatest asset. The authors challenge a simple yet profound truth. That when you turn your attention inward to your goals, values, habits, and mindset, you change the outer world. This isn't about self-absorption, but self-mastery. It's not about waiting for things to happen, but making things happen. So sit back, breathe deeply, and prepare to listen as if this is a dialogue between your current self and your future self. If you're ready to stay focused until you win, then you're in exactly the right place. Let's begin. The authors open with a bold truth. Your focus is the most valuable currency you'll ever own. Every dream, every achievement, every transformation begins with the decision to turn your attention inward. They remind us that before the world takes notice of your potential, you must see it first. Most people waste energy chasing approval, scrolling through comparisons, or waiting for circumstances to align. Meanwhile, their purpose sits in the corner. Unseen, focusing on yourself is not arrogance, it's awareness. It's the moment you stop looking for validation and start building vision. R. Harold and Shirley described this shift as an awakening. The instant when you realize that the person you've been waiting for to rescue you is the one in the mirror. That's where self-focus starts. The quiet choice to stop scattering your energy and begin investing it in your own growth. Every hour spent comparing your life to others is a withdrawal from your own potential. Every hour spent refining yourself is a deposit toward your future. They go deeper, showing that self-focus means taking ownership of your attention in a world built to steal it. Every ping, post, and notification pulls your mind outward, fragmenting your ability to think clearly. The authors urge readers to fight for stillness. Sit with your thoughts long enough to hear the ones that matter. Clarity is born in silence, in those moments when you stop reacting and start reflecting. They say that the strongest people are not the busiest, but the most centered. It's not about cutting off the world. It's about creating inner boundaries so the noise doesn't drown out your intuition. When you learn to hear your inner voice again, it will tell you exactly where to go next. That's why focus is sacred. It reconnects you to direction. Without it, even talent is wasted potential. With it, even small effort compounds into greatness. R. Harold and Shirley explain that self-focus is a discipline of energy, not ego. They encourage you to treat your mind like a garden. What you water grows. What you neglect withers. Most people feed weeds, worry, gossip, self-doubt. The focused person feeds flowers, purpose, gratitude, progress. The authors challenge you to monitor where your time truly goes. Who gets the majority of your attention? What conversations fill your day? What thoughts repeat in your head? Your results always reveal your focus. The good news is that focus can be retrained like a muscle. Each time you redirect your mind towards something productive, a goal, a healthy habit, a meaningful relationship, you strengthen that mental muscle. Over weeks and months, the strength of your focus becomes visible in your results, your confidence, and your peace. In one of the book's most powerful ideas, the authors describe winning in silence. They say that true winners don't announce their plans. They execute them. When you focus deeply on your craft or your growth, you no longer need external recognition to feel validated. You're too busy becoming the person you once hoped to be. Silence becomes strategy. Every late-night study session, every morning workout, every day spent refining your skill is a brick in the unseen foundation of your success. And eventually, that silence will speak for itself. People will call it overnight success, but you'll know it was built from countless quiet days of focus. That's what it means to focus on you until the focus is on you. It's the art of working unseen until the light naturally finds you. Finally, they remind us that focusing on yourself doesn't mean ignoring others. It means becoming so complete that you can serve others better. You can't pour from an empty cup, and you can't inspire others if you've lost your own direction. When you prioritize your growth, your confidence becomes a source of light that others feel. You stop begging for attention and start commanding respect simply through your energy. The world begins to mirror your inner discipline. Opportunities, relationships, and recognition start gravitating toward your stability. Self-focus, they conclude, is not selfish. It's service through strength. Because when you master yourself, you show everyone else what's possible. And that's the first step toward any victory. Focusing on you until you win. Discipline is the quiet architect behind every great transformation. R. Harold and Shirley describe it not as punishment or deprivation, but as devotion to your potential. When you choose discipline, you are choosing respect for your own dreams. The authors explain that motivation gets you started, but discipline keeps you moving when inspiration disappears, and it always does. Life will test your resolve with exhaustion, distraction, and doubt. And discipline is the strength that carries you through those storms. They compared discipline to the engine that drives a car. You can have the best map, the clearest goals, the most powerful vision, but without the engine of daily effort, you go nowhere. The most successful people, they say, don't rely on mood. They rely on structure. They've built routines that move them forward, even on the days they feel weak. That's what separates dreamers from doers: consistency. The authors emphasize that self-discipline is not about perfection, but about persistence. Every day you stay consistent, you build credibility with yourself. That credibility turns into confidence, and confidence turns into momentum. They encourage you to start with small promises. Wake up earlier, plan your day, read for 10 minutes, and keep them. Every time you follow through, you send a message to your subconscious mind. I am someone who does what I say I'll do. Over time, that identity becomes unshakable. R. Harold and Shirley explain that most people fail not because they can't succeed, but because they break the promises they make to themselves. When you stop quitting on your commitments, your life begins to align naturally. Progress may be slow, but it's steady, and steady always wins. Discipline transforms time into progress and effort into excellence. They also teach that discipline requires clarity of purpose. You can't stay disciplined towards something vague. Your goals must be defined in detail. What do you truly want, and why? Without a clear why, your motivation will fade at the first sign of discomfort. The authors suggest writing down your goals, visualizing the person you're becoming, and connecting every action to that vision. When you know your why, the how becomes easier. Focused discipline is not about grinding endlessly. It's about aligning your effort with meaning. The moment your goals stop being abstract wishes and start being emotional truths, you unlock extraordinary drive. Purpose fuels perseverance. Every time you feel like giving up, return to your why, and remember that comfort never built greatness. Focused discipline is not about grinding endlessly. It's about aligning your effort with meaning. The moment your goals stop being abstract wishes and start being emotional truths, you unlock extraordinary drive. Purpose fuels perseverance. Every time you feel like giving up, return to your why, and remember that comfort never built greatness. Discipline is the difference between temporary satisfaction and lasting pride. It's proof that you care enough about yourself to demand more. Each time you choose focus over distraction, you reclaim a piece of your power. The strongest people are not those who never get tired. They're the ones who keep showing up tired. Discipline doesn't ask you to be fearless. It asks you to be faithful. Another central lesson in this part is that discipline multiplies when you protect your environment. The authors advise designing your surroundings for success. Declutter your space, reduce temptation, and surround yourself with people who live by the standards you admire. Energy is contagious. Your circle shapes your habits. If you want to grow, spend time around people who challenge your excuses instead of comforting them. The authors describe how small environmental shifts, turning off notifications, setting deadlines, preparing the night before, can produce enormous results. Discipline thrives in structure, and structure must be intentional. The world won't hand you focus. You have to build it through routine, repetition, and accountability. Finally, they close this section with a reminder that discipline is freedom disguised as effort. Most people think freedom means doing whatever you want, but true freedom is the ability to direct your life consciously. When you master discipline, you stop being ruled by moods, habits, and distractions. You become the leader of your own life. The freedom to create, to succeed, to rest without guilt, all of it comes from discipline. The authors challenge you to view every act of self-control as a victory, not a burden. Each disciplined day is a brick in the foundation of a life you'll be proud of. The more consistent you become, the less you rely on motivation. You evolve from reactive to proactive, from wandering to winning. Because when you master discipline, you master destiny. The authors remind us that the biggest thief of success isn't failure, it's distraction. In a world where attention is currency, most people are bankrupt because they spend theirs carelessly. Every notification, every pointless argument, every comparison steals a piece of your focus. R. Harold and Shirley write that distraction is not just an external force. It's an internal habit. We've trained ourselves to chase stimulation instead of satisfaction. The moment something feels uncomfortable, the writing, the studying, the workout, we escape into the comfort of noise, but focus is forged in discomfort. To overcome distraction, you must learn to sit with silence again. It's in that stillness that your ideas grow roots. Every time you resist the urge to check your phone or scroll aimlessly, you're reclaiming fragments of your attention. The authors say that true winners don't have more hours, they simply waste fewer. They explain that distraction is often a symptom of fear, fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of commitment. When your mind fears the outcome, it seeks escape in chaos. That's why people start projects and never finish them. It's easier to stay busy than to be brave. The authors challenge you to face that fear head on. Every time doubt whispers, "You can't," respond with, "Watch me." Overcoming distraction begins with understanding what it's protecting you from. Often, it's your own potential. The closer you get to purpose, the louder the resistance becomes. That's how you know you're on the right path. R. Harold and Shirley remind you that focus is not just concentration. It's courage. It's the decision to stay on the path even when your mind begs for an easier route. You don't silence doubt by arguing with it. You silence it through consistent action. They describe doubt as a fog that covers your vision just before the breakthrough. When results are slow and progress invisible, doubt whispers, "Maybe it's not worth it," but that's when focus matters most. The authors insist that most people quit not because they can't win, but because they stop believing right before they do. Every goal tests your patience before it rewards your persistence. They tell the story of how growth feels like walking through darkness toward a door you can't yet see, but you keep going because something inside knows it's there. The antidote to doubt is data, the evidence of small progress. Each step forward is proof you're capable. Document your growth. Track the tiny wins. When you can look back and see how far you've come, doubt loses its power. Momentum destroys fear faster than confidence ever could. The authors also explore how your environment feeds distraction. You can't stay focused if you live surrounded by chaos. They suggest creating what they call focus zones, spaces free from noise, clutter, and unnecessary stimulation. Turn off notifications, clear your desk, schedule breaks intentionally, and treat focus like sacred time. They say your surroundings either serve your goals or sabotage them. There is no neutral ground. Protect your mental environment just as fiercely as your physical one. Negative people, toxic conversations, and mindless entertainment are all forms of distraction disguised as comfort. Guard your time like it's oxygen, because it is. Every distraction you remove adds hours back to your life. When you learn to say no to noise, your clarity becomes unshakable. In this section, the authors emphasize that discipline and focus are teammates. One without the other collapses under pressure. You can't focus for long without discipline, and you can't sustain discipline without focus. They call this the dual power principle, a mental partnership that transforms productivity into purpose. Every day, you'll face moments where distraction seems easier than diligence. In those moments, remind yourself that comfort is temporary, but regret lasts forever. The satisfaction of staying true to your task always outweighs the fleeting thrill of escaping it. Our Herald and surely urge you to visualize the cost of lost focus, the goals delayed, the dreams deferred, the opportunities missed. When you feel tempted to drift, picture that price tag. Then, refocus. The longer you stay centered, the stronger your self-control becomes. Finally, they conclude that overcoming distraction and doubt is not about becoming perfect. It's about becoming aware. You can't control every thought or temptation, but you can control your response. Every time you choose presence over avoidance, your inner power grows. Focus is built moment by moment, decision by decision, until it becomes second nature. The authors remind you that clarity and confidence are rewards for those who refuse to surrender to chaos. You may not always feel certain, but if you stay consistent, certainty will meet you on the road. Overcoming distraction and doubt is not a one-time victory. It's a lifelong practice. But once mastered, it gives you something priceless, peace. Because when your mind is clear and your direction firm, you stop chasing approval and start attracting alignment. And that's where true power begins. Harold and Shirley say that becoming your best version is not about perfection, it's about evolution. Your best self isn't a distant future identity waiting to appear. It's a daily decision to improve, to refine, to grow just a little more than yesterday. The authors explain that self-transformation begins when you stop trying to impress others and start trying to impress your potential. Every time you push your own limits, you expand what's possible for you. Becoming your best version requires honesty, the courage to look at your weaknesses without judgment, and the wisdom to know they can change. The authors describe growth as a process of shedding habits, fears, and identities that no longer fit. It's not about adding more. It's about subtracting what no longer serves you. When you remove the noise, the authentic you emerges stronger, clearer, unstoppable. They explain that progress often looks invisible while it's happening. The body changes before the mirror shows it. The mind strengthens before confidence catches up. That's why patience is essential on the journey of becoming. The authors encourage embracing the quiet seasons, those stretches when nothing seems to move, but the foundation is forming beneath the surface. Growth is rarely glamorous, it's repetition, resilience, and reflection. They call it the grind of grace, where effort meets faith. Every tiny action compounds into transformation. When you stay consistent long enough, people will start to ask how you did it, but you'll know it was done one disciplined day at a time. Becoming your best version also requires forgiveness, especially self-forgiveness. The authors remind us that guilt and regret are anchors that keep us chained to yesterday. You cannot rise while holding on to who you were. Forgive your past failures, your missed chances, your moments of weakness, because they were training you for strength. Every misstep contained a message, and once you learn it, you can let it go. They write that healing is part of focusing on yourself. You can't build a new chapter on top of unresolved pain. Release it. Use it as fuel, not as a fence. When you forgive yourself fully, you free up emotional energy that can now be directed toward building, creating, and succeeding. Self-compassion is not softness, it's strategy. The authors also emphasize the role of mindset. They teach that your external world expands in proportion to your internal belief. If you see yourself as average, your actions will match that vision. But if you begin to view yourself as capable, worthy, and resilient, your behavior will rise to meet that image. Becoming your best version is a mental reprogramming, a replacement of doubt with determination. They recommend daily affirmations, visualization, and surrounding yourself with people who reflect your higher self, not your history. Your environment should remind you of where you're going, not where you've been. When you think like the person you want to become, your focus naturally aligns with growth. In one of their most inspiring reflections, our Harold and Shirley explain that self-development isn't selfish, it's service. The more you improve, the more value you bring to everyone around you. When you strengthen your mind, you lead better. When you heal, you help better. When you grow, you give better. Your success becomes a silent permission slip for others to pursue theirs. The authors challenge readers to see personal excellence as contribution. By living fully, you inspire others to live freely. Your transformation creates a ripple effect that touches lives you may never meet. That's why focusing on yourself until you win isn't isolation. It's preparation to impact the world. Finally, they close this section with a reminder that your best version is not a finish line, it's a lifestyle. You'll never reach a point where growth ends. Because life keeps evolving, and so should you. The authors urge you to fall in love with the process, not just the results. When you find joy in the journey, every day becomes a victory. You begin to see challenges as teachers, setbacks as redirection, and progress as its own reward. Becoming your best version is not about who claps for you. It's about who you become when no one's watching. Keep refining, keep focusing, and keep moving forward. The version of you that wins is already within you, waiting for your discipline to bring it to life. The authors open this final section with a profound lesson. True success rarely announces itself. In a world obsessed with showing progress, real winners understand the strength of silence. Our Harold and Shirley explain that confidence doesn't need to prove, it simply performs. The loudest people often seek validation. The quiet ones are too focused on execution. When you commit fully to your growth, you stop needing applause to feel valuable. You start to measure success not by attention, but by alignment. The book's title, Focus on You Until the Focus is on You, is a promise that if you do the work privately, the results will speak publicly. You don't need to chase recognition. Excellence attracts it naturally. Every quiet hour spent studying, training, building, or refining is a deposit in your legacy account. And one day, when the world sees the compound interest of your consistency, they'll call it talent, but you'll know it was focus. They describe this stage as the evolution from proving to becoming. When you first begin, you might crave validation, likes, compliments, acknowledgement. But as you mature in discipline, that hunger fades. You realize that peace is more powerful than praise. You find fulfillment in showing up daily, doing your best, and knowing you gave your all, even when no one noticed. The authors call this the silent season of champions. It's the phase where you outgrow the need to be seen and fall in love with the art of mastery. It's what separates amateurs from professionals, the ability to stay devoted even in obscurity. Our Harold and Shirley remind us that the tree doesn't make noise while growing. It just breaks through the soil one day, fully formed, strong, and undeniable. That's how real winners rise slowly, quietly, inevitably. They explain that humility is not denying your greatness. It's keeping your greatness grounded. The more you achieve, the more you must remember the roots of your journey, the struggles, lessons, and sacrifices that shaped your focus. Humility turns success into wisdom. Without it, success becomes ego, and ego is the enemy of growth. The authors encourage gratitude as the antidote to arrogance. Thank the challenges that built your resilience, the critics who sharpened your clarity, and the supporters who believed when you doubted yourself. Gratitude keeps your success sustainable because it keeps your heart aligned with purpose. The humble achiever shines brighter because their success inspires, not intimidates. They lift others simply by being proof of what's possible. R. Harold and Shirley also explore leadership as the natural result of self-focus. They write that you don't have to declare yourself a leader. When you live with purpose, people will follow your example. Leadership isn't about control, it's about influence. It's showing others that discipline, focus, and kindness can coexist. When you master yourself, you gain the credibility to guide others. People trust authenticity more than authority. The authors say the best leaders are mirrors. They reflect possibility. Every time you choose consistency over chaos, you teach by example. You become the living lesson that self-focus is the foundation of impact. True leadership begins when your success becomes a source of hope, not comparison. In one of their most powerful insights, they describe how focusing on yourself is never selfish, because your growth creates permission for others to grow. When you evolve, you raise the standard in your environment. Your friends start to think bigger, your family gains confidence, and your presence becomes magnetic to ambition. This is the ripple effect of self-focus. You don't need to preach change, you become it. The authors encourage readers to use their victories to empower, not to boast. Celebrate your wins quietly. Then use your wisdom to help others win louder. Greatness is not just about achievement. It's about contribution. The highest form of success is service, the ability to help others climb their own mountains. Finally, they conclude that the journey never truly ends. Focusing on yourself until you win is not a single moment of triumph. It's a lifelong commitment to growth, gratitude, and grace. Success will come and go, but character is forever. The authors remind you that the world doesn't need more people who chase attention. It needs more who chase alignment. Win quietly, lead with integrity, and live with purpose. Because when you master your mind and discipline your focus, your very existence becomes an inspiration. You stop seeking validation and start radiating vision. The goal is not to be seen doing great things. It's to become someone great. And when you do that, when you focus on you, when you grow in silence, and when you serve with humility, the focus will inevitably return to you. Not because you demanded it, but because you earned it. Thank you for listening to this audiobook summary of Focus on You. Until the Focus is on You by R. Harold and Shirley. Remember, your attention is your power, your consistency is your proof, and your growth is your legacy. Keep working in silence, trusting that every disciplined day brings you closer to the life you deserve. You don't need the world's focus to start winning, just your own. Because when you focus on you, you change everything around you. If this audiobook inspired you, don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share it with someone who's ready to take control of their future. Keep believing, keep building, and keep becoming, until your results make the noise your words never had to.